When I was in high school, I was kind of playing with the idea of studying Italian actually, and not Swedish, because I liked Italian music, of course.
Yeah. Good. I'm gonna tell you very straight up. I'm very happy that you didn't pursue Italian as a language. I keep telling
No.
everybody why. Why do you guys learn Italian? If you guys want to learn a Latin language, go to France. I don't know. It's much more useful and more lucrative. But I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate that Italian culture has resonated with you, of course.
Of course. So I almost made it to Berlin. It was kind of my second choice in case I didn't study Swedish. But back 2013, I visited Sweden for the first time. I went to Malmö and I really liked just the culture, the atmosphere that they have. And then a few years later, it was late 2015, I think, I heard an amazing song. As you can tell, I really like music, so I get influenced by music quite a lot. I heard an amazing song which was called Ta mig tillbaka by this Swedish singer called Darin. And I was like, oh, I want to know what he's talking about. Like, I want to go deep in that lyrics and find everything about that. And so when I was supposed to be choosing which language I want, I was like, I'm gonna shoot for Swedish. I'm gonna try and see if it works. And spoiler alert, it did. So I did get to study Swedish at university, and I still really like it. I think it's a really melodic, wonderful language. So I don't regret choosing it for sure.
It's interesting because whenever in the world of music, whenever you think about Swedish music, people usually think of Swedish songwriters that were very popular in like American music. You have like Max Martin, or you can have ABBA that sing in English. You are the kind of like the exception because you went from songs in Swedish that are in Swedish, which is interesting because, like, for example, in Eurovision, like 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 10, they never send a song in Swedish. They send songs in English. So it's very interesting to see. It's like, oh, wait a minute. I guess there are pop songs or like songs in Swedish that are actually in the language, at least for the rest of the world. So
Exactly.
it's very interesting to know. But so you went to the world of Swedish thanks to music. But learning a language isn't as easy as just waltzing in and be like, I want to learn Swedish. So can you tell us briefly about the very basic of the way that the Swedish language works?
Of course. So, like I said, because I survived Serbian, thankfully, now Swedish is a piece of cake.
Okay.
Jokes aside, of course, every language is difficult in some aspect. So, Swedish, I would say, in grammar, is surprisingly quite easy. It is very void of cases, void of genders, void of anything that's kind of gendered or oriented towards one person, I would say. So if you learn one verb in Swedish, like, I don't know, pratar, which means to talk, it's gonna be the same for everyone. For me, for you, for them, for my cat, it doesn't matter. So they're all gonna use the same. There are no specific endings, nothing at all. So I think that's kind of what I use to lure people into Swedish. I'm like, guys, if you learn one verb, you know everything basically. So, of course, there are some other aspects of it. Like I said, it's not gendered, but it does have remainance of some gendered, let's say, situations from the past. It has some remainance of cases, but in general, I would say grammar is quite okay, quite all right to master. However, the pronunciation is a little bit different. So, of course, because it's, in family of German languages, right? So it has umlauts, which is the e, o, and so on. Now that's where the trouble is, basically. But yeah, I would say grammar is quite all right.
Yeah, this entire same strategy actually worked on me in a very different example of like, oh, the grammar is so easy, you can get it very quickly, was for Chinese actually in universities. They told me, oh, like you can come to Chinese, is very easy, the grammar is very easy. It's like the same one as like, there's no genders, there's no cases, every word is exactly what it means. But then you look at it once and like, wait a minute, I think you trapped me somewhere. I don't know. Like there's a big elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. Okay, there's a big one, which is the alphabet, but that's Chinese. But I'm actually interested to knowing, like, you said that there are remnants of cases, remnants of gender. What exactly does that mean? Because I'm not 100% clear on what.
So back in the days, I'm not gonna try to say which exact century, but Swedish had, for example, three genders. So there was female, male, and the neutrum, right? And then over history, over the case of history, they kind of decided to put the female and male into one. And they made something called utrum. And then we have utrum and neutrum. So, however, in Swedish, they don't really see that as a gender. So I wouldn't say like, oh, in Serbian, for example, if I take a bottle of water, that's flasha, and that's she. So I'm gonna say literally she is, for example. But in Swedish, there is no such thing. However, they do have something called ett and en article, which is basically that every single noun in Swedish has to be en or et. Now, what is the trouble with that? In theory, it's supposed to be logical, like en is supposed to be this male-female fusion, and et was supposed to be this neutrum fusion. However, it's just guessing and just learning by heart. So everyone is like, please, how do I know instinctively, intuitively, if the word bottle, flaska, is gonna be en or et? I'm like, I have horrible news for you. You cannot. So we kind of have to, when we learn Swedish, we have to learn for every noun if it's en or et. So that's why if you crack open any dictionary in Swedish, every word is gonna have that with it. So it's gonna say en or et with it. Otherwise, you're never gonna know. So that's the remainant of the gender. And the remainant of the case is just similar to English, like accusative. For example, like saying I see you, you see me. It's not you see I, right? So it's the similar in Swedish, for example. So they have also object cases, but that is about it for that.
Did light up when you heard something? Is there something that reminded you of German, of other languages?
Absolutely, yes. Because we have to learn by heart too which article goes with which noun. So there are some rules where you can see if it's female, male, or neutral noun, but they do not apply to all the nouns. So yes, I know that struggle. I mean, from my students only, because fortunately I could learn it as when I was a child, and I just know by now. But everybody who's learning German, they have the same issue.
Yeah, it's every time that I talk about people that are learning German, always the same story. It's like, I don't know which gender it is. I don't know how to remember it. How can people remember it by heart? It's so annoying. But I mean, a lot of languages follow these rules. So does Serbian have the same issue of some genders you just have to learn them by heart?
Everything in Serbian is gendered. It's like the things you can't imagine being gendered. Serbian is like, yes, we will make this a she, actually. So honestly, I feel like you can guess, if there is a word that ends with a certain vowel, for example, maybe we can guess that it's female or something like that. But a lot of times I feel like for foreigners, they do have to actually, sit down and write it down.
Oh, isn't it so beautiful in the Romance languages that you can really have these rules? It's male, it's female, and
I'm trying to find exceptions, but my limited brain does not allow me to find an exception that in Italy would be like, oh, that seems like a feminine word. Oops, no, it's English. But there are definitely exceptions. It's not that easy. It's like, oh, it ends with an A. It means that it's 100% going to be a female. But I do admit that in hindsight, it is definitely a little bit more consistent and a little. There's more agency to guess. Like if you say bottiglia, it's like, that sounds like a feminine word, and 8 times out of 10 it is. So you don't have to worry about that too much.
Absolutely. Yeah, there are exceptions. But is there actually, when you started learning Swedish, was there something that felt particularly easy for you because you already knew Serbian and Spanish and English, sorry. And my mind was still on Spanish from before.
I wish I knew.
And the other part of the question is also, was there something that was completely alien to you, super, super weird?
I would say because I knew English, grammar was quite easy.